In a market saturated with inexpensive, high-spec alternatives, standard consumer theory suggests most buyers should gravitate toward the lowest price, but millions choose the opposite, paying significant premiums for a brand that physical specifications alone can't justify. To find the root of this behavior, we have to look back to 2007. When Apple launched the original iPhone, they shifted the public perception of personal electronics from utility tools to status symbols. They achieved this through price skimming. By setting initial costs high, Apple filtered for early adopters and enthusiasts, ensuring their devices were associated with an exclusive, high-income lifestyle. The price became part of the appeal. But the hardware in your hand is the entry point for a much larger operation. The phone sits at the top of a carefully engineered funnel designed to capture and monetize your long-term behavioral habits. That funnel requires a specific physical environment to work. Traditional big-box retailers are designed for volume, with noisy signage and high-pressure sales tactics that often put customers on the defensive. Apple's retail stores prioritize open space, free Wi-Fi, and hands-on interaction. There are no commissioned salespeople pushing for a quick close. Instead, you are encouraged to spend hours familiarizing yourself with the products. If a device fails, the Genius Bar provides a clinical, supportive environment to resolve the issue. This post-purchase support acts as an insurance policy for the consumer's ego, establishing a level of brand trust that few competitors can match. This environment reduces the friction of a major purchase. By removing the immediate pressure of the sale, Apple fosters a supportive relationship that makes the transition into a closed digital ecosystem feel like a natural progression. Through vertical integration, Apple controls the custom silicon, operating system, and first-party applications. This removes daily digital friction. You can instantly copy a link on an iPhone and paste it onto a Mac, or beam high-resolution files across a room. Apple markets this synergy as a cornerstone of user privacy. The narrative is simple. By keeping everything within a single closed loop, your data remains shielded from the vulnerabilities of the open web. This effortless experience creates a specific type of dependency. After months of seamless synchronization, using technology from outside the loop starts to feel slow, fragmented, and exhausting. As you settle into this environment, your relationship with the brand shifts. Apple moves from selling you hardware upgrades to selling you ongoing digital services like iCloud storage, Apple Music, and Apple Fitness Plus. This data reveals a massive disparity. Hardware maintains a 37% gross margin, while digital services operate at nearly 74%. With 2.5 billion active devices, Apple has created an unprecedented pool for monetization, turning users into recurring subscription streams. Your daily digital habits and recurring financial dependencies have surpassed the hardware itself as the company's primary driver of profit growth. Leaving this system triggers the psychological pressure of loss aversion. If you switch to another brand, you lose your iCloud photo history, your purchased applications, and the synchronization that manages your digital life. The sheer effort of migrating prevents most users from ever trying. There is also social friction. Leaving Apple means losing iMessage functionality, which breaks group chats and turns your texts into green bubbles, a visual indicator that serves as a penalty for stepping outside the network. This immobile user base gives Apple massive leverage over the rest of the tech industry. They use this captivity to enforce a 30% commission tax on third-party digital sales, knowing developers cannot afford to lose access to such a wealthy, trapped audience. What begins as a choice based on brand preference eventually turns into a high switching cost environment that is almost impossible to escape. The sheer predictability of this captive consumer base allows Apple to optimize its supply chain with surgical precision. Because they know exactly who will buy their next product, they carry almost no excess inventory. While a competitor like Samsung holds on to 100 days of stock, Apple holds just roughly 8 days. They move products so quickly that they essentially eliminate the cost of storage. This creates a negative working capital cycle. Apple recovers cash from retail sales weeks before they have to pay their suppliers for the parts. In effect, the company uses its vendors' money to fund its own expansion. This financial efficiency is only possible because the psychological lock-in is so absolute. The trapped consumer base provides the certainty required to run a global operation on outside capital. But the scale of this control has triggered a global regulatory backlash. With the services sector reaching a $100 billion annual run rate, Apple is facing a wave of antitrust lawsuits and federal investigations focused on these monopolistic practices. Apple's most impactful innovation is the creation of a psychological cage, a psychological structure designed with such precision that consumers often see its glass walls as its most valuable features.